Welcome to Talking Federal Business, everyone. I'm Nick Vlahovic, consultant to industry. Today, I'm going to share with you a great resource that you can use to help identify federal agencies that need you. But before we get into it, I'd really appreciate it if you could click the like button, and I'd appreciate it even more if you could subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button, which is down below in the notes section below this video. Thanks in advance for that. The best places to work in the federal government survey results have been published every year since 2003. They're managed and compiled by two organizations. One you see in the upper left-hand corner if you've Googled this site already, bestplacestowork.org. The first organization is called the Partnership for Public Service. They're a government think tank, and they joined forces with the Boston Consulting Group, which is one of the most prestigious consulting companies in the world. What they're after is coming up with an idea around employee engagement. That's federal government employee engagement. And that's important because employee engagement is important because that translates to how effective federal employees are in their jobs, and that means how well they're providing service, customer service to us, and it even translates to things like national security. So federal agency leaders are paying attention to what's called the engagement score, because there is an engagement score. It's basically employee morale. And so these results can also help us because we can use the same results to identify those agencies that could use our help with our best-in-class solutions. So these two organizations survey 500,000 employees. And as I mentioned, they have been since 2003. Now, the engagement score for 2022 dropped down 1.1 points from the previous year, and it actually dropped down 4.4 points the previous year before that. So that's a troubling 2-year trend that everybody should be worried about, federal agency leaders and us, and it should give everybody a little extra momentum to want to do something about. Before we get into the rankings themselves, let me just share with you the other 4 columns really quick on what they are. This is the most interesting one for us. If you click on this, you're going to find the Boston Consulting Group's overall findings analysis on what they learned. So if you click on overall findings, you're going to see their analysis. It's quite some lengthy paragraphs, but it's some good information to help you understand the overall findings overall for the government. You see they've got a trend line in here, which is interesting information. But what I like the most is down here at the bottom. What they have is their recommended steps to improve employee engagement. Now, what these are their recommended strategies that they would recommend for overall government improvement in employee engagement or morale. And the one that caught my attention is this one right here. Create time, space, and resources for innovation. And we'll return to that one here at the more towards the end of this, but I wanted to point out to you that those strategies exist. Let me just touch on these last 3 columns. Services are the consulting services that are available. Consulting services that are available to agency leaders. Resources are the educational resources available to them so that federal agency leaders can become more informed. And then about is what you'd expect. It's a potpourri of things, everything from FAQs to contact information. So let's come over here to the rankings themselves, and we're going to click on overall rankings. And we'll go ahead and scroll down here, and we'll see how things are organized. So the information is organized in 4 columns. 3 columns by agency size, and then the 4th column are agency subcomponents. So this column here, these agency subcomponents, are what I call child agencies that would come in under one of these agencies here. For example, the IRS is an agency subcomponent to the Department of Treasury, for example. So as you can see on this list, the lowest hanging fruit would be the Department of Homeland Security and Social Security Administration. Department of Homeland Security has a score of 54.9, and they dropped down from 56.5. So they would be a good potential prospect for us if we're looking to help them. So let's look at the DHS and see what we can learn from them. So here's their overall score of 54.9, their ranking. Here's their overall scores for the different categories. The categories are good to know about. Here you've got leadership. There's the teamwork, innovation, and work-life balance, which is also a recommended strategy. And then you've got down here performance for the agency, performance for the work unit, and then lastly, customer service down here at the bottom. And then you've got the yearly results going back for 2012 for each category. And some of these are newer categories, obviously, as you can see. What you want to do, though, is you want to find out which of these subcomponent agencies made up this overall engagement score, because you want to see who really needs our help. So if you click on agency subcomponents, you're going to see a list of those agencies and their engagement scores. If you look down at the bottom here, you're going to see the TSA was a score of 45.2. Now, it's pretty easy to figure out that the TSA would have a low engagement score, a low morale score, because they've got a pretty tough job in those doing airport security. But there are other workplaces within the TSA we need to keep in mind. And so they are worth looking into. So as I scroll down into the TSA, let's look at their scores by category. And I'm just going to get down into the area that I find the most interesting: teamwork, innovation, work-life balance. And if you see here, they have an innovation score of 43.1. So here's how I would use this area. I come from the office furniture industry, and now I consult to it. And the office furniture industry is actually in the business of providing effective workplaces. If workplaces are effective, they ultimately translate to the people in the workplaces being more innovative. And that's a result of those workplaces providing a more range of effective workplaces, spaces for better teamwork, better focused spaces. Maybe the spaces better support work-life balance by supporting a distributed work strategy. And all those things translate maybe to speed to market, to ideas being synthesized better as a result of being a more effective space. And that translates to the organization being more innovative. So that's the conversation that I would coach my furniture manufacturers to have with leaders at the TSA, leaders, the C-suite people, and then ultimately to get with the planning people to implement more effective planning strategies. See how that would be done? So if you're in an industry where you can affect a strategic strategies within an agency, strategies such as their business processes, how they use technology, how they use people, or even their real estate and workplaces. That's how you could be effective in what you learn from this survey. Or even if you provide products or services that are more tactical, maybe something around pay models that could translate to a better score around the way people get paid, you could affect an agency score as well. So that's my coverage of the Partnership for Public Service, Best Places to Work in Federal Government results. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please press like, and even better, please subscribe to my channel by scrolling down into the notes section and clicking subscribe. So thanks for joining. I'm Nick Vlahovic, consultant to industry. We'll see you next time.